On Wednesdays at 7, sharp as can be, Blue Gal's calling, come knit with me.
Hey guys, Blue Gal here, and I'm in my messy office to talk to you today about what's going on. I am organizing a good chunk of my yarn stash this week, and I found out at my guild meeting last Sunday that the building where we meet, which is it's owned by the Springfield Ceramics and Crafts, I want to say club, I think that's right. They hold a craft supply sale. Who's mad, Your Honor? Yes, they are. They hold a craft sale in October, and like to have donations of craft supplies. And so now knowing where the yarn is going to go and that it's going to be appreciated is making it a lot easier for me to let go of stuff and to feel a kick in the butt to go ahead and get some of this yarn out of here. And so I've been having fun today. These two drawers, top drawer and second drawer, are mostly fingering weight yarns for shawl patterns. And I have learned in the past 9 months to a year that I don't want to knit any more shawls. So I'm going to knit scarves and cowls, and that's great. But shawls with 4 or 5 skeins of fingering weight yarn and that kind of thing is just not my bag. I don't wear those. And so it's just not something that I need to invest in. And so the other thing that happened as I was getting all this drawer empty, the top drawer in particular was full of finished objects. And I'm just going to go through these real quick because, and Bosco there's an ottoman right here and a chair, and this is Bosco's ottoman right over here. So he's sleeping while I talk. There are 3 pairs of socks. These are the ones that I didn't want to give to youngest child. So, and maybe you've seen these before. This is lemon, easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's what this is. And then I did striped socks 1 month for Grocery Girls. This is, striped with a toe. And these were the scrappy socks last year. December is scrappy. And then I've got a baby set for some baby somewhere. I wanted to see what this acrylic yarn, this is that self-flowering. And this is the baby pattern for newborn, so that the belly button isn't irritated by the buttons. You move the buttons over to the side there. And I found the perfect buttons for this with the little roses and a little squared off hat to go with it. And let's see. Then you've seen all these recently. Hat. And the Shetland Wool Week hat is in the other room. I'm still showing that off to people. I've got, this is a Casapinka shawl that I made into a scarf. I wore this on very early episode of this podcast. So this is great colors. And you've seen this one before, and this cowl is a Casapinka cowl in 2 colors. Excuse me. 2 colors of koigu. A gray koigu and a koigu, as I would say, the multicolor koigu. So that was fun. The joy hat. And this is a shawl, an actual shawl called Audition, which I am now knitting again. And this is one of the last 2 UFO. Oh, wrong side. Sorry. So this is these colors. The purple is Goddess, and the variegated blue is oh gosh, I've got to remember now. I'll remember it. But this is my Goddess shawl. So I do like the colors here a lot. So yeah, just and this is a scarf, silk scarf. I sent this yarn, this silk yarn, to my sister-in-law. It was on a cone, as I recall, and my sister-in-law knit this for me for my something blue for my wedding. So that's a nice memory. And so I was just so proud having, I moved all these to the ottoman to get them out of the way so I could clear yarn. I was like, wait a minute, there's a ton of stuff here. And it's stuff I finished. And I'm very proud of that. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today anyway, because I've been having a lot of fun watching and making friends with other knitting YouTubers. And the only one I really want to mention today is the sock yarn sock drawer guy. He shouted out at his podcast this week to me. I'm going to shout out to the Sock Drawer podcast. Hello. And we've been having a lot of fun exchanges about podcasting, about knitting and podcasting, and how consistency is more important than knitting output. And having something every day or every week to show as a finished object is not necessary. He has a background in radio, it turns out, so that was interesting. But so I think he knows a lot of what I was trying to tell him. Anyway, I've been watching a lot of knitting YouTubes this week and discovering that I am not alone in my anxiety about finishing things and how long does it take to finish a sweater in particular. And if you've been watching this podcast, you know that I knit a pair of socks every month. This is the first sock for June, the Pride sock. And the other sock is on the needles for June and will definitely be finished by the end of June, because I consistently for the past, actually I think since the beginning of 2024, I started with the Grocery Girls Sock Bash Knit Along in May of 2024, but before that I was knitting a pair of socks a month. And now with the Grocery Girls, I follow their theme of the month because I have so much sock yarn I can do that. And the theme for June is rainbows. So so I do this every month and I follow their theme. And I did an entire podcast about the sock knitting almanac for 2025 and what my plans were if you want to go back and see that. In addition to finishing that sock this month, I am working on a plain top-down cardigan for youngest child. Youngest child wants a grandpa sweater, an oversized top-down cardigan with ribbing around the neck and down the front. And this represents a skein and you can see some stitch markers in there where the stitches got a little loose or where the yarn split, and I had to see that right there. Right there. That's where the yarn split and became an extra stitch, and I had to repair, if you find that a yarn splits and you wind up with an extra stitch there because you're knitting fast, you can go and do reverse stockinette with that extra stitch and then knit it together at the top. As you see, I caught it after 3 or 4 rows. And because it's reverse stockinette on the other side, I see it, like I know where it is, it's right there. But when you hold it up and wear it, it's pretty invisible, and it's much better than ripping back 3 or 4 rows. And this is supposed to be a slouchy grandpa style sweater, so this is not supposed to be perfect. And so I am past the armholes. Here's the front. It's top down, raglan sleeves. I've now joined the body, and I'm knitting the body. And this is 7 or 8 days worth of work. And I started this on May 28th. So that's where I'm at. And that includes casting this sock on June 1st and finishing it within this calendar of working on stuff. That's what I've been doing. And I finished also the Shetland Woolly Cat within this time period since May 28th. So, you know, lots of other knitting passing through my fingers while I'm working on this as well, which is what I want. I want to figure out how long it takes me to knit from beginning to end a plain, boring top-down cardigan, and see if I can finish it in a month or 5 weeks, along with every other thing that's kind of falling into my knitting calendar, which is primarily socks. But you know, if I have a hat that I need to finish, or if I have something else going on, then I do. And so the reason I want to do this, and this comes back to all the other YouTubers that I'm watching and finding anxiety about, well, I have this sweater on the needles, or I have this UFO or WIP. I don't like the word whip. I'm sorry, I just don't. A whip is a weapon. But the work in progress, or the unfinished object, there's been anxiety that I've seen in podcaster after podcaster, where, okay, I've started the sweater, here's what it looks like, it's on the needles, I started it 10 years ago, I started it 5 years ago, it's been in my closet for however long, and I don't know when I'm going to finish it, and I don't know how long it's going to take to finish it. Or, this is my current project, and in my head I'm going to finish this in 2 weeks. And the fact is that we need to figure out, I think, as knitters, how long it takes us to knit a sweater. And then that information is critical, I think, to finishing. That I learned so much. I talked about this before. Sock Week with Knitty Natty, who has us all as a knit along, and this year it starts July 20th for a week. Everybody's knitting an adult fingering weight sock in a week, which is doable. I will tell you, I know those of you that don't knit socks all the time think, oh, I could never get a sock done in a week. Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. And doing that is such a learning experience in terms of realizing what you can accomplish in a set period of time. And given that I finish a pair of socks every month, I have the confidence. Confidence erases anxiety. I have the confidence of knowing I can knit a pair of socks in a month because I've done it 18 times, right? And that's the kind of knowledge we need about sweaters. A lot of us have a lot of experience with knowing what patterns work with what yarns, doing color work, doing cables, doing slip stitches, lace. You know, this is lace. This is a slip stitch right here. This part. Stripes. The stripes are in there. And there's more lace here. See, I'm going mirrored backwards here. There's more lace. There's a picot edge. More stripes, etc. And I had the experience with the color wheel. I had the experience with the lace, the slip stitches, etc., following a pattern. What I don't have a lot of experience in is finishing sweaters. I've only really, in the past couple of years since my kids grew up, started knitting sweaters for myself and for them. And the year that middle child went to college which was a 1-year period where youngest child was a senior in high school and then they left for college, that year I think I knit 6 sweaters for both of them. And that was my way of dealing with empty nest syndrome, which is a thing. And so I learned a lot about knitting sweaters, but I never really kept track of how long did this take me to make. And so I want, like I said, to learn how to do that. And so I'm on the body now, and we'll see how far I get in the next 2 weeks. I am taking next week off of podcasting because I have stacked doctor appointments, and it's all checkups, it's all follow-ups, it's all semi-annual or annual. There's not going to be any tremendous revelations from any of this, but you got to have the mammogram, ladies. You got to have that done. I've got to see a cardiologist every 6 months, and so he can say, yeah, you're fine. So those are things that are going to happen, and they're all stacked up in 1 week, which I didn't do on purpose, but I think it's probably a good thing. Just get all this done. Did dentist on Monday, and then for semi-annual cleaning, and so now get these other specialists out of the way and be done with it for another 6 months. So, but it means I really don't have time for podcasting. I always read something to folks from this week. What I'm going to read to you is from my vacation journal. This is my writing. And I have found these little notebooks. You can get them online from the Big Bad Place, and I'm sure you can get them elsewhere. This one is made by Blue Summit Supplies, and these are 62-page bullet journals style with an index at the end. And I find these great for travel. And so on my vacation this week, I took one, and I think I got to, where did I get to with this? And I only wrote on one side of the paper. So yeah, I actually wrote on the index page. So I was writing, I was writing a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to read a couple things from this, and maybe your journal looks like this too. 90% of my journaling is about knitting. Let's see. I marked where I want to read. Here we go. I finished the red. What day is this? This is April something? My vacation. April 30th. Okay. I finished my red leftover sock yarn hat this morning, and after several tries, I cast on a blue leftover sock yarn hat. Tomorrow is May 1st, and I have to cast on the May socks then. In the morning, I am writing and reading and knitting. I also plan to resolve the post-vacation blues by planning my knitting from May 5th to July 4th, 2026, approximately 14 months. How many blankets, sweaters, and hats plus socks can I finish in that time? I'm excited about knitting the Shetland Wool Week hat and also a Slava Ukraine hat, which, I did. Where is it? Oh, I put it on the floor, didn't I? Where's the Ukraine hat? Show that off. Here it is. Slava Ukraine. I did the Slava Ukraine hat. All right. Plus the purple cardigan, which I haven't shown you yet. That is a UFO. I want to do the purple cardigan. Okay. Let's see, what else was there? There's all this stuff about knitting. Reading, what book am I reading? And then, here we go. I can spend the next year decluttering the house, 15 minutes a day, and have things looking better. I think I can even give away yarn in large quantities. I'd like to have this year plus 2 years worth of sock yarn in my stash, and also catalog what I have in terms of sweater yarn, and that is exactly what I'm doing now. It would be great if I knew what yarn I had and could fit everything in my closet, which is this closet, and drawers, and have current projects only in the bins under the coffee table in the living room. That would be fantastic. So I've set some goals here, and I just wanted to read to you from my journal because I do feel like knitting journals are helpful. I don't like doing video editing because video editing is not knitting. I do feel like journaling about knitting feeds knitting. So I am working on this sweater, and it's boring. It's a boring brown sweater, and that's okay. It is to find out what it's going to take to finish a plain sweater quickly, which is going to give me information that will be very useful and end the guesswork about casting on a sweater and being able to finish it. That's important. And the next sweater is to finish the purple sweater I was talking about. I will bring that out as well. That is also a top down, which is past the underarms. So it's that body part that is endless stockinette that's hard to sit there and do, and having a deadline of, or at least measuring the time that I'm doing it in this particular instance is good. And you know, some people are process knitters and they just want to knit and not worry about finishing things. Some people who do design work don't knit sweaters. They draw the sweaters and knit a swatch, and that's all that my understanding is that's all that Vogue Knitting wants, is yarn, the swatch, and a drawing of the sweater. And then they'll decide if they're going to buy the design for, and then you have to find a knitter to do it. But, you know, that if you're that way, if you're just a process knitter and you just like to play with patterns and so forth, you may not finish as much. And that, as long as you're conscious of that, I think that's great. But if you're somebody like me who knits for fun and to show off what you make, knowing what you're knitting and knowing how long it takes you to finish things and then finishing them is just such critical information. So join me on Sock Week in July 20th, that Knitty Natty. I will post a link to Knitty Natty's Sock Week intro where she talks about it. And in the meantime, I hope you're having fun knitting. And I hope if you're a knitting podcaster, link your podcast down below, because I'd like to check it out if I haven't already. All right. Thank you. And I will talk to you guys in 2 weeks after I've had all of my healthcare checkups. All right. Bye-bye.
On Wednesdays at 7, sharp as can be, blue gals calling, come knit with me.